Kids don't come with a manual. Teaching them how to understand the world and their own emotions can be a painful puzzle for parents. Counsellor and children's author Rebekah Ballagh's new book, Big Feelings and What They Tell Us, is here to help. As a former child and current parent, author Rebekah wrote it as a story for kids. It's also a strategy guide for adults to help young people deal with all these new emotions: joy, fear, sorrow, jealousy. It's a lot. And that work pays dividends for the future. According to the University of Otago, when parents have conversations with toddlers reminiscing about everyday events and the feelings they may evoke, it can benefit their well-being and mental health well into adulthood. Joining us from the centre of New Zealand, Nelson, counsellor and kids author Rebekah Ballagh. And Rebekah, the book is called Big Feelings. Are feelings bigger for kids than they are for us adults?
Yeah, they are, but also because they're new. And I think our little ones, they don't know how to regulate themselves yet. They haven't developed that ability to process their feelings. So they feel like they're a lot bigger and they come out a lot bigger. And they also don't have their sort of cognitive processing skills or language skills online like we do as adults.
I've always understood when your kid is feeling an emotion, it's important to acknowledge that. So when my daughter says, I'm angry, I say, I understand that you're angry. Then I tell her to go and talk to mum.
Good skill.
But
Just pass her over.
But is that the right thing? Like accept it, don't try and explain it?
Yeah, articulating it, like putting it out there, naming their emotions and just accepting them for, what they are is certainly a good approach. And if you've got to pass over to someone, if you're feeling a bit tipped up yourself, then that's also a good strategy.
You did not think you were going to get the seal of approval?
Yeah, going to get away with that one. Wow. Yeah.
I know you've got some cool ideas for teaching kids to breathe really deeply. Can you explain how that works?
Obviously, we know as adults that a deep breath is something that switches us into our rest, digest, restore, like that calm part of our nervous system. And so there's a few really cool ones in there for kids, like hot chocolate breath, like sway breathings.
How does a hot chocolate breath work?
Yeah.
You hold your hands out in front of you and imagine that you're holding a big mug of warm hot chocolate, and they inhale slowly in through the nose, as if you're smelling that aroma, and then exhale through pursed lips as though you were trying to cool the hot chocolate down but not make the marshmallow tip out over the edge, just like that. And so they love it because it feels like they're doing a fun little visual thing, but it's really calming.
Is this book really as much for parents' anxiety as it is for children's anxiety?
Yeah, I reckon we all need to develop our own kind of emotional regulation skills, and this is definitely a toolkit for both parents and adults. And I guess as well, as parents, it's really easy when our kids are having really big feelings. It's easy for us to sort of feel like, oh, we're doing something wrong, or to go into our own threat response. And we often struggle with the feelings in our kids that we had to push down in ourselves, or we never learnt to manage when we were growing up. So it's definitely a resource for all ages. Right. Well, Rebekah, my emotion at the moment is happy. Thank you for joining us. You're so welcome. Thank you.
It's a beautiful book, really beautiful book. It's a nice long story for the kids and then some exercises for the adults in their life. There's a little wheel of emotions, and it reminds me that actually a parenting expert that I interviewed once gave me a tip, and it totally changed the way I parent around emotions. And she said, you give a child a hug when they're scared or sad, you should hug them when they're angry as well. And my natural instinct, if someone's mid-tantrum and acting out and kind of lashing out, is to tell them off. But actually what they need in that moment is to be filled up with love. And you can always tell them off later, but the best way of calming them down is just to give them that security of a hug from their parent.
Yeah.
Might be a bit dangerous.
Yeah, it's a bit
My daughters are getting quite big now. They could take me out.
I just like to take Jeremy's advice, and you get a kid a leaf blower. Have you seen the little
Just blow those emotions out of you.
What we do with Ryla and Darcy, I've sort of said with them, well, life's for living, and there are tons of emotions. So rather than trying to hide them from them, I think it's like, OK, this is one that really sucks.
Yeah.
And you're allowed to feel bad when things don't go your way. Like, you should do that as part of it, because I think it's part of your grieving process for anything.
Yeah.
Megan just sits the kids down and says, watch Dad watch the All Blacks. He goes through all the emotions.
Well, if you need more advice on emotions, the book is called Big Feelings and it's out today.